Can you imagine that there'll be any place where you cannot pray to Hanuman Ji? Well, there is. It's a village called Dronagiri. It's in the Himalayas. It's about 500 or so kilometers away from Delhi. And there, the villagers have not forgiven Hanuman Ji for what he did centuries and centuries back to this day. The battle between Lord Rama's Vanar army and Ravan's demon hordes was in full swing in Lanka when suddenly Ravan's son Meghnad, a terrible demon, unleashed the Brahmastra, an unimaginably powerful weapon, something like the atomic bomb of today. This Brahmastra immediately injured everyone on the battlefield. 67 crore Vanars, Lord Ram and Lakshman. Only a few of the heroes were unaffected by it, including Hanuman Ji, Vibhishan and a few others. After seeing that the Brahmastra had fatally injured everybody, Meghnad went away. Hanuman Ji went to Jambavan, one of the main generals of Lord Rama's army, and spoke to him, said, "What do we do now?" So Jambavan said, "There is only one way to save the Vanaras and Lord Ram and Lakshman, and that is to go and get this herb called Sanjeevani Booty, which brings back the dead to life." And he told Hanuman Ji, "You have to go straight to the Himalayas, and between Mount Kailash and Rishab, you will find a mountain, a hill, on which is this rare magical herb called Mrit Sanjeevani, along with 3-4 other herbs. And you'll have to get those herbs right here to the battlefield if you want Lord Ram, Lakshman and the entire Vanar army to recover." So Lord Hanuman immediately flew to the Himalayas. He saw the Mount Kailash and he saw Rishab, and in between he saw this hill on which were these rare, amazing herbs. And Hanuman Ji landed on the hill and started looking for the herbs. But these Maha-Aushadhis or rare magical herbs somehow realized that someone had come to uproot them and take them away, and they hid themselves. That is the kind of powers these rare, amazing herbs had. And when Hanuman Ji realized that the herbs had hidden themselves, he got angry and he lifted out the entire mountain and took it with him and took it to Lanka. And in Lanka, he placed it near the battlefield, and using those herbs, the entire Vanar army, Lord Ram and Lakshman recovered. Now, the reason the villagers of Dronagiri have not forgiven Hanuman Ji is because Hanuman Ji lifted and tore up and lifted away Dronagiri hill, Dronagiri mountain, which they considered to be a holy mountain. It was their Dev Parbat. And these villagers considered these herbs to be holy, divine, the mountain to be divine, and Hanuman Ji actually ripped it off and took it away. So they have not been able to forgive him to this day. What's also very interesting is exactly what happened when Hanuman Ji landed on this Dronagiri hill. At first, when he came to this hill between Mount Kailash and Rishab, he could not even make out which one was the right hill. So he reached the village of Dronagiri and he asked people around. But the villagers would not reveal. They were protecting their sacred mountain and their sacred herbs. So Hanuman Ji knew that it was a life and death situation. Lord Ram, Lakshman and everybody was on the verge of death. So he disguised himself as a very sad, bedraggled holy man, a sadhu. And then he went to the village again, and then he saw this old woman and asked her and gave her a lot of reasons and was very sad in front of her. And the old woman, she felt bad for this old bedraggled sadhu, and she pointed out where the hill with the amazing healing herbs were. The herbs were Mrit Sanjeevani, Vishalya Karani, Suvarna Karani and Sandhini. Hanuman Ji went there, but he just could not recognize where the herbs were, which was the exact place in the hill. Then he came back again, and this time this old woman pointed out a herb. But Hanuman Ji really didn't know how to collect these herbs. So he did what he thought was the best thing to do. And he ripped off the entire right flank of the Dronagiri mountain and took it away. Because Hanuman Ji ripped off the holy mountain, the villagers were very upset. And they were so upset that they ostracized this old woman who gave Hanuman Ji directions to this holy mountain and the magical herbs in it. In fact, whenever there's a puja of this Dev Parvat, women are not allowed to participate in the rituals. And any lanterns made by women are not used. To this day, when the special celebration of Jagar happens, where the spirit of the Dev Parbat, the holy mountain, enters a medium, we see that as soon as the spirit enters the medium, the entire body of the medium moves, but the right arm remains limp because it was the right flank of the mountain that Hanuman Ji ripped off and took away. And whenever Ram Leela is celebrated in this area in Dronagiri, Hanuman Ji is completely removed from the Ram Leela. Another interesting thing is that there is another version of this story. The part where Hanuman Ji comes to the village remains the same, but the part where the battle happens is different. Why? Because there are two primary Ramayanas that were written. One was Valmiki's Ramayana, which is the more authentic one, which is the one I just told you about. The second is Tulsi Das's Ramacharitmanas. And in this one, the story is a little different. In this Ramayana, what happens is that Ravan's son Meghnath comes into the battle and uses a terrible weapon called Veer Ghatini on Lakshman. And it fatally injures Lakshman. Lakshman falls down, almost lifeless, and Lord Ram is totally distressed and he is inconsolable. That's when Hanumanji comes to them, and Jambavan then tells Hanumanji that you have to go and seek this healer in Lanka itself by the name of Susen Vaidya. So Hanumanji goes and finds him and brings him back. And Susen Vaidya tells them that Hanumanji will have to go to the Himalayas, go to the Dronagiri mountain and bring back these herbs so that he can heal Lakshman. That's when Hanumanji takes off and goes to the Dronagiri mountain. And there's another really interesting thing right at the end. In Valmiki's Ramayana, Hanumanji returns the mountain to its place. But in Ramacharitmanas, Hanumanji leaves the mountain in Lanka itself. And in a remote part of Lanka, there's a mountain, a hill called Sripada, which is supposed to be that very mountain that Hanumanji had lifted out from Dronagiri. That mountain is still there today. It's got a temple at the top of it, and it's supposed to be a very holy place. And people believe that this is that same mountain that Hanumanji had ripped off from the Himalayas and got to Lanka. So that is why the villagers of Dronagiri have not forgiven Hanumanji to this date. I hope you enjoyed this retelling of this amazing incident that happened in the Ramayana. I will bring many more stories and legends and folklore from around the world, mythologies around the world. So stay with me and do like, share and subscribe to my channel. That makes a big difference. See you next time.